everybody, it's Jared with Cypress Creek Knives. Today we're going to attempt a one-day knife build. It's something I haven't done in my 7 or 8 years of making, so it should be interesting. We're going to keep it simple with some bolted on scales, small pattern, and a simple carbon steel. So I'll zoom in here and show you what we're working with. Alright, so here's what we're working with. We got some Pops ProCut. It's going to be an easy heat treat steel. We got some blue TeroTuf for the scales. We got some hardware for the scales since we're doing bolt on. And I'm still deciding between which pattern I want to make. I think we're going to go with either the Wanderer or the boot knife here. And I'm leaning towards the boot knife. So let's just select it and get working. Since I'm in a bit of a hurry to get this done, we're looking at 1 p.m. Central right now. I'm going to do most of my work in silence. I'll voice over if need be, or just let you guys follow along. So what we're doing here is we are scribing out the pattern. We're going to take it to the bandsaw to cut out the blank, profile it on the grinder, drill our holes, mark up our handle scales, and try to get everything but the grinding of the bevel done before we even heat treat. Alright, there we go. Everything is chamfered and deburred. Alright, so we deburred it with the Scotch-Brite belt. And now we're going to clean up the die chem on it. Now, one thing that I don't like about ProCut is it is cold rolled, so it comes with a bend from the mill. So what I'm gonna have to do is take a minute here and straighten it, and then I'm trying to think. I may do some acid etching, at least on the blade, if not the tang, just because I like to do it when I've got the time. But we're gonna go ahead and straighten this blade out, get it flat, and then prep for heat treat. There we go. So you can see that wobble. Got some snakiness going on here, but we're teasing it out. That's all you can do. And again, that's so far my one complaint with ProCut. Other than that, it grinds well, it works well. By all accounts, it is user-friendly, and it's a great material to actually use. But this part's always tedious and frustrating. Sweet. I'm happy with that. All right, so the next thing that needs to be done is we need to prep the handle scales, so I can work on them and start getting them kind of finished out while the knife is tempering. We're gonna do things a bit out of order, at least slightly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and mark out the blade profile, the tang profile on the handle here. That way I have something to work with later on when I'm getting these rough cut and rough finished before the final fit up. Alright, I'm going to mark my pinholes. That's not really important at the moment. And roughly kind of eyeball where I want my fronts to be. So what I've done is trace my outline, my 2 pinholes, my lanyard hole. Later on, this up in here is going to be removed for the hidden lanyard. That might be a little deep, but we'll make it work. Up here, I've marked a tick mark here and here. It's where I want my fronts to be. I'm kind of have an arch coming up in the front. So what I'll do is I'll take my French curve, kind of find what I think looks good in terms of I don't know, the angle or the curve for the front. And I think I like that. And we'll mark it. Now we kind of transpose this onto here. Let's just eyeball it, boom. Whatever. Okay, that's gonna work. Even though that was a little sloppy. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna clamp the blade to the material and drill my 1/4 inch holes, and then everything else can come after. holes drilled on just one side of the scale, and we'll come back in a minute. Okay, so for the sake of time, I decided not to do my acid etch on the tang and on the flats. We're just going to go with whatever mill finish this is and call it good. So we're hovering around 1470, 72. That's good enough for me. Pop her in, let it come back up to temp, and then we'll soak for 10 minutes. Well, lighting could be better, could be worse. So we've been in the oven for about 8.5 minutes, almost 9. So we're getting ready to quench. And so what I'll do is I'll quench over here in the Parks 50, make my way back over here, wipe off the blade, throw out the aluminum plates, throw it in the vise, and clamp it flat. And that'll take out any remaining warps that are in the blade. Anything beyond that should be handled by, I can probably grind it out. If not, we'll take the carbide hammer to it. So just another minute or so, and we'll quench. All right. Quench.
So I do kind of a back and forth slicing motion in the oil for 10 to 15 seconds. That way, I think it gets a more even quench and cools more evenly and rapidly. So what we're doing is we'll lighten up that oil. So we're still warm and soft enough that we can kind of bend it without breaking. That's what these plates are for. Okay. These plates are a bit overkill, but I like to have as even pressure across all the plates as possible. So we'll leave that in there for, I don't know, a minute or so, let it come all the way down to room temp. And then we'll toss it in the oven to temper.
Alright, so the knife is in the oven for the first of 2 1-hour temper cycles. In the meantime, we're gonna glue up the scales, finish the fronts, rough cut them out, and I'm probably gonna do a test set with a different knife on the router because we're just gonna route the edges. So we'll see how that goes. There's a lot of ways that people go about gluing up their handle scales. Mine's probably not the best, but again, as with everything, works for me. A bummer of this new stuff, this new glue, is it cures, it's way more reactive, it cures way faster than what I'm used to with this old stuff. So look at that, I'm getting hung up in it already, which is fine. But I like a slower cure. Good to go there. We'll let those sit for a minute or two and just make sure everything cures up. We'll hit it with some accelerator. And then we'll pop these off, stick them together, clean them up, and start working on the fronts. so we've got everything cleaned up. I don't know if you can tell, but I've got blue, yellow, blue, and then natural. That's my blue-tailed skink handle combo. And we are ready to cut this excess off and then start shaping the fronts. Alright, that's about as good of a view as I'm going to get. Switch to the cell phone because the GoPro's dead and I'm not bringing my good camera in the grinding room. So I'm going to go power on the air compressor and get to it. Alright, this is the moment of truth. It's where it all goes right or it all goes wrong. So I'll show off these handles real quick. Bolts in, hidden lanyard, everything's square and flush. We got 120 grit finish. Could go higher, probably won't. I'll clean up the blade a bit more when we're done. But all right, here we go. But so far so good.
we did it. She looks good. She's real chunky. So that tells me that I should have done just 1/4 inch without liners. But man, hang on. Let's get some lighting over here. Yeah, no, I'm pleased. I'll clean this front up here in a minute. So you can see that rough finish. That's actually from the router. I'll go back through and clean this up real quick. But not bad. Honestly, it feels really good in the hand. It's chunky for sure, but feels good. Honestly, I might put this on my pack and use it for a bit and really test it out.
Alright, let's do a quick paper test with the 1-day build. It's finished off at 600 grit, and then I just hit it with a couple of licks of 1500 to knock off the burr. No stropping, which I like to strop. I think I get a bit of a finer edge, but there you have it. She cuts. 1-day build complete. Pops ProCut at roughly 62 Rockwell. Blue TeroTuf handles, removable scales, hidden lanyard. Yeah, there we go.